I think it was 1:400.
What?
Yeah, on
Hang
the
on, let me
scale.
let me no, let me check. Let me check first. Oh, it's a three by 3 meter,
Three by
or
three.
two
Yeah.
by or 3 by 2.5 meter, or 15 by 10 meter. Oh no, no, sorry, it's 15 by 10 meter. Ada 3 meter kecil sangat pula. Okay, and the shelter is three by three or 3 by 2.5.
15 times
5
10.
times 10, yes.
Mm,
Scale there is 150. All right,
150.
okay, okay. Okay, guys. So I've got a copy of this. So what I'm going to talk to you this afternoon is it's about the hang on. Yeah, yeah. Where is my okay? It'll be a kind of a talk on what you should be thinking about and what you need to do for the rest of the semester, for the rest of the first semester in preparation for doing the third project. Now, this is a time when you finally you finally get to work with a proper landscape project, okay, as opposed to your project one. Sorry, your assignment one, project two, project one, and project two, where you were working with very abstract aspects of design, nothing to do with landscape at all, nothing to do with landscape in terms of in terms of a project, but in terms of the training, it's definitely very beneficial, very relevant to prepare yourself to doing the landscape project. And we are hoping, we are really seriously hoping that you have understood, appreciate of what space is all about, really. You know, how to go about doing space, why you're doing it like that, how you're arranging the spaces, for example, how excited you are will be, how sad you were, how disappointed you were, how so many things. How do you get yourself moving? How do you get yourself motivated? How do you get yourself inspired to do all these kind of things? To get this two project done, the 2D and also the 3D. Actually, if I were to be a landscape student or architect student, in fact, there's a lot, that I should have learned, or I could have learned, actually, if you seriously thought about what was the purpose of these two exercise, really. I'm quite sure if you show this project to your parents or your brothers and sisters, they say, this has nothing to do with landscape. This is from a layman's point of view. But from an academician like myself, and also from Madam Sikin, who was also a student here before, we know that this is very important, because it provides you very basic understanding, basic appreciation, right? Basic inspiration, basic motivation, what design is all about in terms of space making. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to landscape design, you are creating and creating, and you're designing spaces. That's the bottom line of what you need to do. But how do you go about doing that? You have to go through that exercise of project and one and project two. But now, finally, in the third project is where you begin to get yourself more familiar, or something that you've been hoping for. That finally we get to work with trees, with water fountain, with footpaths, with shelters, all these kind of things. Finally, you get to do that. But the basis of doing that is still very much what you have learned, experienced in the first project, also in the second project. So don't lose that one, please. Many students, that's what happens on Shiking, and when they go to the next project, they forget what they've learned in the first project on the second project. That's
That's
very
correct.
disappointing. Because of course, most of you did very well in your first and second project. So, but hopefully you also learn also very well what you did in the first and second project. Right? So this is very important. And I, Madam Shikin, Madam Ija, and also Dr. Hana, we have given our input. We have given our input. You see, when we give our input, it was not just simply about giving you the idea of how to go about doing the design of project one and project two. But we also try as much as possible to inspire you, that say, wow, this is good, this is not so good, this is what you can do, how to make it better. Hopefully you understand that. If you don't understand, but at least appreciate, why did she did ask me to do this? Why did Madam she asked me to do this? Try to evaluate that. Try to evaluate that. Yeah, you have to trust our judgment when we suggest something for you to do, or to make certain changes, is because we want it to look good, right? But if you still cannot appreciate, what makes this look good, from what Madam Shikin and me suggested. Then learn from that. Learn from that. Hopefully, one day you'll be able to understand that. Right? Because it's about developing values. You must be able to develop the values of what is good design, what is bad design, what is average design. It's very, very important. Because if you can't make that judgment, you cannot be a good landscape architect. Madam Shikin is a practicing landscape architect. I'm quite sure every time he draws or she plans something, for example, he has to make her own judgment. What is good design and how this good design can impress her client. So she has to make that judgment. But if you don't have that value to make that judgment, how can you be a good designer? That means you are just hoping very much on luck that your client will like your work. No, we should not be like that. Because you are the expert. Your client should listen to you as the expert of what's considered to be good design. But if you don't have that value of what good design is, then how can you advise your client? How can you do a good design? If I don't have that value, Madam Sikhi don't have that value, Dr. Hana don't have that value, Madam Ija don't have, then how can we evaluate your work? Isn't it? So we need to have that value in ourselves as advisors or as academicians or as lecturers. So that value that we have is what we use to measure how good your work is. Right? 10 minutes, but I have still not given you any talk on the third project. But because this is me, because I want to really emphasize, because project is not just, design is not just simply about making things look good. There's something that you need to have in you for you to prepare to be a good designer. Either as a landscape designing student or landscape designing as a professional person like Madam Shikin here. All right? Okay, I'll stop talking. Someone will say, Jadin, please stop talking, Jadin. This is already 2:30. We have enough of you already. But, I'm tired also, but I tell you, once I get into the zone, when I want to talk to things, I'll get this. Inshallah, I'm very much motivated. Because I like to share with you passionately what I have with me, right? Even though I'm an old person, but I have the passion still in me, but what a design should be all about. Okay, I'll share this with you. All right, can everyone see this?
Yes, teacher.
All right. So,
Yes.
right. So the project is one man, one place. So the word very clearly says that this is a place that you're going to design for one particular person. And that person is no one but you alone. No one but you alone. But that doesn't mean that you alone can only enjoy it. You can also have guests, someone to enjoy the place that you are going to design, right? Together with you and also someone else. But basically, this is one place, one man design. In other words, it's a space that you change into a place for your own use, for your own pleasure, right? This is what this project is all about. So it's very simple. The title is called One Man, One Place. So I've talked about this before, also on many occasions for project precedent study, project one, and project two. What is a space? What is a design space? What is a place? And what is a design place? Right? What is a space? It's like a very simple thing. It can be a square, it can be a circle, it can be a triangle, it can be a polygon, anything. So that is just a space, right? So if you draw a circle, on a piece of paper, that is a space. But if you want to design that space, that square space that you started off with, then you have to start to configure that space so that it looks like a design space, especially for something to happen, especially for someone to use, especially for someone to enjoy when they are in that space that you have designed. Not the space that you created first, like a square or a circle, because it's just a square, it's just a circle, it's just a triangle. But when you design that space, when you configure that space, when you make changes to that space, then it is a design space. That means you have personalized that space so that it becomes a design space. Right? For example, like if it's a circle, you cut into half, for example, so you have two semicircles. So that semicircle become a design space. But for a purpose, there must be a good reason why you have cut that space into that circle into two, or why you have cut that square into four spaces, for example. You must have very good reason. But the moment you start interfering with the first shape or space that on a piece of paper, that means you are already beginning the design or the process of designing the space itself. That means you are personalizing that space. Okay, understand so far, everyone? I know I talk very, very fast, but I like to ask and stop at certain times to ask you whether you understand what I've just said at this stage of my talk this afternoon.
Like the design spaces are as if, like, if I add levels to a circle, then it becomes a
Yeah,
design
you
space.
add levels, or even you don't have to think. Yeah, okay, okay. You can add levels. But you see, when we talk about space, okay, levels is maybe useful, but when we are talking about space, first, that means it's just an empty space.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't
Yeah.
talked about
Like,
the place yet. Yeah, because we talk about space first. In other words, when you draw a square, you divide the square into four, you divide the square into half, you divide the square into whatever. That means you are configuring that square.
yes.
Right? So that configuration is an act of an act of designing. That means you have personalized that square. You have personalized that basic circle. You have personalized that basic shape of that basic triangle shape space. Still space.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still the space, but designed
It's
space.
still space. Still a space, not place yet. Right?
Yeah, but it is designed.
It's just configuring. It's just configuring. Like what you did in your first project. Remember? Somebody had
Yeah.
circles. So what I did was, when somebody had circles, I put a square. I cut the circle into half, or maybe there's a square. I put a circle. This is all designing, right?
Exactly.
So this is where when I use the word create and design spaces. Can all of you remember that one? When all of you, I think most of you had got in touch with me through WhatsApp when you wanted me to talk about, when you wanted me to comment on your first project, also your second project. Can everyone remember?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Apa ni
Yes.
semua nak tipu ni, tak seronok lah saya yang seronok ni. Come on, please. Have big passion. Have in your response, please. Can you remember that, everyone? Yes, you can, isn't it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Come on. You are very young. You are very energetic, right? Okay. So that is a design phase. All right. Okay. I hope I'm just assuming that all of you understood that, because it's very, very simple. Alia.
Yeah.
Oh, Alia. Ariana. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Do you understand what I just said just now? Until at this stage of my talk?
Yes, I understand.
All right. Okay. Good. Okay. For those who don't understand, please give me a shout. Cik Din, I don't understand what you're saying. I'll share this. Don't worry. Do not be embarrassed. Right? Okay. Once you have a space, you design the space. That means you personalize the space. Then the next level is you have a place. Place is when you start giving character to that space. Right? You get giving character to that space. In other words, this is where you start putting in levels, like what Isfa was saying. For example, I can put steps, for example, right? Or I can put walls, for example, a plane, vertical plane, right? This is all about giving character, but still very much a place, right? But not designed yet. But you start but the process of design is already happening. Place means that means you are creating, you're giving character. You're giving character to that space. So when you give character, a fundamental character, then that space becomes a place. Okay? A design place is when you start, for example, if you have a column in that space has become a place. But that column that you have in the middle, for example, you start playing about with that column in the middle. You push it to one side, you push it to the other side, and so on and so on. So that means you are trying to find a location of that column in that empty space so that the space becomes a designed place. Right? Which means place and space and place making and design place is almost very, very similar. But design means you start to make it more refined. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
What do you mean okay.
By giving a character
Yeah.
to
All right.
this?
If you all right, okay, never mind. Don't worry. I think little by little you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to say to you. Well, I know it's a bit subjective, but okay. Anyway, okay, this is a very simple diagram. I think which is in your brief. So a space can be simply defined as a blank portion of area or an empty area, usually bounded in some ways by between things. In this case, between lines. So the white space is bounded by 4 equally distant lines, which forms a square. So this is a space. So it's got no character at all, isn't it? It's just a white, empty, white space, a square space. But the moment you start putting something in it, then it begins to give a certain character to that space. Once you put something in it, for example, when you start doing some changes to it, for example, when you add something to it, for example, or when you remove something away from that space, then that space becomes a place. So a place can be defined as any particular situation. It could be particular situation, it could be a garden, it could be a park, it could be backyard, whatever. Right? That's a particular situation, and for example. Or a space which has been given an identity or a character. Right? So for a space to become a place, that doesn't mean you have to add something. You can also remove something from that space for it to become a place. Understand?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
understand.
Yes.
Yes.
So what is design in art? Right? Design moves people because in many cases it represents ideas, ways of thinking, desires, and situations. This is what it is all about. So you have a space, right? You have a design. You have a space. So you're trying to design that space so that it becomes a very artful space. When it becomes an artful place, then it becomes a place. So design is something that you do to make the place exciting, to attract people. So it gives people a certain things to think about. Why did the student do this to this particular space? Because the student wants to make that space into a place by giving character to that place based on art. Because you can't just simply put things everywhere, but there's no reason. There should be an artistic reason. Apart from the functional reason, there should be an artistic reason why you make these changes in the basic shape. Because why? In landscape, it's about art and design, or the science of art and design. Sorry, is that landscape is about art and science. Art and science.
Yes.
So art is the very basic foundation of whatever we do in landscape design. Right? So in other words, you try to give character, you try to personalize it so that people can cry, people can be happy, people can be very angry, people can be so excited by what you do. If you design the space from an empty space to a design space that people can be very, very involved with what you work for. That's why I'm quite sure if you visit some certain parks, for example, you say this looks very, very ordinary. But when you see another park, for example, you see, wow, it's so exciting. Why? Because the landscape architect has put a lot of passion, idea behind the designing of the park itself. Right? That's what he or she has given special character to the spaces in the park that he designed. So people can know that, people can appreciate it, people can feel that, as opposed to a park which is very, very basic, for example, very, very, very functional, but looks very, very boring. Right? Because there was no art behind that. It was just simply doing it for the sake of doing it, get his money, her money, have his, and then just forget about it. But an artist like yourself, for example, should not be thinking of that. Okay, everyone? All right?
Yes.
Okay.
So what is design? This is done. This is very important. I know we have talked about design so many times in the first project, in the first project and second project. Design is creating an element, either physical or virtual, but in a very certain way. This design is carried out through the creativity, knowledge, and skills of a person group. So the first exercise, first project, and second project is all about trying to nurture, trying to make you understand, trying to make sure that you are able to create something based on your creativity. But for that creativity to happen, you need to have knowledge. So the exercise that we given you, for example, the first project, the first assignment, first project, and second project, it's all about trying to give you that knowledge, right? And also the skills of doing it, the skills of designing, the skills of arranging the spaces, for example, the skills of presentation, the skills of communicating your work verbally. It's all skills, right? Either this can be done by one individual person, or can be done in a group if it's a group project. That's what design is all about, right? Creativity, right? Skills and also knowledge, right? Sometimes design can be very, very complex and very, very ambiguous or very, very subjective. Yes. For those who don't have the knowledge or the skill, they find it very, very complex and very, very strange or ambiguous. They cannot say, well, like I said, when you show this project, the first and second project, to your parents or to your friends who is doing engineering, doing psychology or doing English, for example, they say, what the hell is this all about? So they don't have the knowledge or the skill, let alone the creativity, to appreciate what you're doing. And they look at something very, very, very complex and ambiguous. But what if you have the knowledge and the skills, and of course the creativity, right? You should be able to say, "Wow, looks complex and ambiguous, but I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm in control of what I'm doing." Right? For those who have that knowledge, for those who have that skills and the creativity, right? So this is the difference between you as a landscape architecture student, and also for those who don't have a design background. You have a design background now, to a certain extent, even though it's only about 5 or 6 weeks that you've been doing this particular program in UTM. The ability of people to show their creativity in designing the shape of whether physical or virtual. That's what design is all about. You should have that ability to have that creativity for you to decide what you want to do with that space, what you want to do with that object, what you want to do with this and that, for example. What color do you want to put in? How hard is it going to be? Is it going to be a texture? Is that going to be very, very smooth? You make this decision. Not just you do something just because you like it or just because someone likes it. That's a layman's excuse for doing design. You should not be just simply based on just simply looks nice or someone likes it. No, there must be very, very good artistic reason, philosophical reason, intellectual reasoning as to why you do certain things. But sometimes, even the best artists in the world may not even have a very good reason as to why they do certain things. But the thing still looks absolutely amazing. Betul tak, Syekh? Syekh? Where's Madam Syekh? Has she gone somewhere else? Has she left me?
Yeah,
Sorry?
She's I think somewhere else, but she's in the meeting. Yeah.
She's in the meeting. Right. So you know what I'm saying? Even though what Chidin says, that everyone needs to have a good reason, intellectual, spiritual, conceptual, philosophical reason for doing certain things. But sometimes even the best artists in the world, when they do something, they won't have a reason for doing it. If you ask them why do you do this, they may not even give a reason. But the thing still looks absolutely amazing. Right? Because why? Because that person, he just works with intuition. He knows what needs to be done without having any practical reason as to why this thing is being done that way. Because he's the master. But when you do, for example, your work, I as a person who assess you will ask you why you do this, because you're not the master yet. Okay, everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So when you're designing a space or a place for your own personal use, we're talking about a certain territorial space. A certain space which is bounded by a certain boundary that marks your territory, that marks your space. Right? So territory means it's a theoretical and methodological concept that explains and describes the spatial unraveling of social relationship. In other words, your space and my space. Right? You have a space, a virtual space around yourself, and I have a virtual space around myself. So when I and you get together, our space overlap. So there's an overlapping of my personal space and your space, for example. But in the context of your project, you are designing a space for yourself, but using the boundaries of the site, that 10 meter by 15 meter site as a boundary for yourself. It's not your personal space that is dictated by your shape, by your size of your body, but by the boundary that we have asked you to work with. 10 by 15 meters, isn't it, Irfan?
Yes.
Irfan?
Oh yes, yes.
Ifan.
10 by 15 meters.
10 by 15. I was confused your name. Okay, so we're talking about designing a space within a territory. In this case, 10 by 15 meters. right? But if you are in a public space, you have your own territory as well, but it's only maybe half a meter around your body. A personal territory or personal space around you. But if it's in your garden, the boundary of the garden is your personal space. So no one else can come into the space unless they are invited. Understand that, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes.
I just showed this to be funny. This is what many of you did or were thinking about when you did your project, the third project. Isn't it true?
Yes.
Yes.
And it was wrong, wasn't it?
Really model.
What's wrong, wasn't it? I told you not to relate
Yes,
this
it was
to
wrong.
anything that you see around you, either in a park or a garden. Don't treat it like this is a road, this is a footpath, this is a river, always learn, car park, playground. No. I said no. I don't do this. So I'm just put this as a joke, really, basically, to tell you what you did before was the thinking was right, but the reasoning was not for, but the objective was not for this one here. Right? Was not this. But now you can do it. Now you can do it. But the approach is not about doing a model, but the approach now is about drawing lines on an empty piece of paper for you to create the spaces. Right? But now the spaces that you're going to create have a certain function. Before there was no function, it was just about making spaces. But now the spaces has a function. For example, you want to create a playground, what shape should it be? How big it should be? What is going to be the space next to the playground? And so on and so on. Because there is a reason as to why the space looks like that. Right? That means that, in other words, when you work with reality, when you work with actual project, that means you're thinking about the functional elements in the space making exercise. Before this, there was no functional element. It was just about how good that space is, how beautiful that space is. It was just an abstract space. Nothing to do with river, shelter, playground, or car park, or office. Some of you use the word tower in your project. I said, no, don't talk about tower. Just talk about vertical element. Right? Some of you have an archway. No, don't talk about archway. Just talk about horizontal element. Don't think about archway, pintu gerbang, for the Malay, for example, or tower, or bridge. No, we don't want nothing to do that. Now you can think about that one like that. You can think like that. The only difference is that you don't use cardboard to design the spaces. To create the spaces and to design the spaces. Use pen and paper. But the objective is to design the spaces for a particular reason. And that reason is the functional aspects of that space. If it's a shelter, certain size, car park, certain size, river, certain size, woodland, certain size, office, certain size, chalet, certain size, car park, certain size, playground, certain size.
Cik Din, I want to ask if we can use our previous works as a inspire, as a
It's up to you now. It's up to you. No problem. Up to you. You want to start from zero pun? Okay, no problem. Up to you.
Okay, alright.
Right? So for those who want to work with this style, okay, go ahead, no problem. I'm going to ask you. Siapa tanya tadi tu?
Alif.
Alif, okay. Why did you have this Art Nouveau style in your plan? You must have a very good intellectual answer, For example, Ariana, why did you work on pop art, for example, pop art inspired garden design? You must have a very good answer.
Okay.
Right?
Alright.
But
We
for those
must
who have
come
worked
well.
with this style, but they want to work with Art Nouveau, no problem. And the reason you said, because I hate this style, when you ask me to, I hate it. I like the Art Nouveau. Okay, go ahead. Because I'm a very Art Nouveau person. Okay, go ahead. Right? I just want to hear your reasoning behind why you decide to do this. Okay, Alif?
Alright. Okay.
Yes. So
All right,
this
good.
this project also we make based on a certain style, right? Of course.
No, it doesn't have to be any style. It can be any style.
Yeah.
But there must be no, it's not the word style. That is the keyword is idea or a concept, not style.
Concept.
Yeah.
Alright.
Concept or idea. style is something that it's like it's okay. Let me it's you if you got a baseball cap, you know what a baseball cap can everyone?
Yeah.
Do you know what a baseball cap
Yeah.
is?
Yes.
Cap.
Cap. Yes.
Yeah, cap.
Cap,
Yeah,
CAP, baseball cap, right? Topi,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
topi.
normally you would wear a topi or a cap in a very normal way. That means that let me show you a picture of myself so that I can. All right, hang on.
The front.
How do I do this? Can you see me? Everyone can see me?
Yes,
see me?
yes.
Right? So if I wear a cap, for example, the normal way is to have the cap and then the front brim. In front, isn't it? Brim.
Yep.
Right? But now,
Yeah.
okay, Muhammad, how else can you wear a cap? Muhammad apa nama ni?
In the back.
In the back.
Back.
Right? Okay, lagi how?
In the side, left and right.
The side. All right. And so on and so on and that. So when you start doing that, when you start doing wear the cap in a different way than what is normally how people know, then that means you are stylizing the way you wear the cap. Sorry?
The same thing.
Alif?
Stylizing the same thing.
What did you say? Yeah. Right. Then you talk about the know whatever it is. Right? That's what it means. But first and foremost is to get the cap first. Buy the cap, put the cap. But first thing you must know how to wear the cap first, like what our normal people would do. Right? And then you say, wow, everyone's wearing the cap the same way. But I want to personalize, I want to make different. I want to be individual. So you start putting the cap wear the cap in so many ways. That means you're starting to stylize the way of wearing that cap. Okay, everyone?
Okay, fine.
All right, okay. So first and foremost is to make sure the spaces are all okay. They are functional. They look the right size. They are in the right location and things like that. Then if you want to personalize it, then you start putting in curves here and there or square here, whatever. You start to stylize it. There's no point in having style, but the space doesn't work. There's no point in wearing a cap in a very stylistic way, but there is a hole in the cap. When there's a hole in the cap, that means you get wet, isn't it? When it rains. True? So that means it's pointless. But make sure you have the cap, a proper cap, and you know how to wear, and you know how normally people wear the cap. Okay, you understand that. But I don't want to look like normal people. I don't want to wear like what normal people wear. You start playing about with how you want to stylize the wearing of the cap. Okay, that's fine. But at least you know what the basic way of wearing a cap. In this case, when you're designing a garden, you know what a basic garden looks like. But you said this basic garden looks like very, very boring, very, very ordinary. I want to stylize it. Then you start playing about with the shapes and so on, and colors and things like that. Remember when you did the first and second project, for example, you had a square. It looks very black and white, isn't it? Then people start to stylize the thing. You start cutting here and there. You start putting some curves here and there. You start putting circles here and there. You start increasing the height. You start lowering the height. Now these are all personalizing. But the basic shape is still was the starting point. Right? So make sure you have that first. Don't stylize as a beginning, but stylize as the second part of the exercise, not the first part. Don't stylize first. Okay, everyone? Right.
Yep.
Okay, sit down.
So this is what you'll be doing. Yes, someone want to ask a question?
No.
I heard the voice. No? Okay, never mind. So this is what you'll be doing for for the rest of your student also working life. You start to draw. You have a pen or paper, color, marker on a piece of paper, and you start to create, design, draw spaces. Stylize it, make it work and things like that. Make it look beautiful, make it look okay. Wow, this is what you're going to be doing later on. Okay? So this is what the final project can look like. Not this project, but any project. What I'm talking the design in terms of plan, not in terms of 3D or yet. Just talking about plan, like 2D spaces. Right? This is what you're going to
Floor
be
plan.
coming out with. Okay. Don't worry, Madam Shikin and I and you and other people will be able to teach you how to do this. Right? But one step at a time. One step at a time. Right? Something like that. You'll be coming up with this. Hang on, I've got a call, guys. Kejap, eh? Hang on, I've got a call. I know. Okay, sorry, it was my wife. Right, something like that. This is the final product. This is the final product of what a landscape garden plan could look like. Right? Something like that. And something like that. But before you come to this, there is a starting point. And what is the starting point? Is this one here. You must have an idea. Start off with an idea. Because everything starts with an idea. Some people say you have a concept. But I don't want to talk about concept because it's too big a thing. But now at your stage of learning, just be concerned about idea. What kind of garden do you want for yourself? In that 10 meter size area when you want to do that. Start off with an idea. Don't worry about concept and that one can come later. But have an idea first. Just like what you did. Just like what you did when you work with the first project and the second project. Start with an idea. For example, like Ariana, she did her work was based on two ladies wearing a kind of a hat, for example. So that's an idea, and so on and so on. So start with that one first. That's the starting, right? So, but when you have an idea, there is a process of doing the design. Right? You have a bubble diagram, you have a conceptual plan, and also you have a schematic plan. Before you come up with this final design, this final work, you go through this process. Bubble diagram, conceptual plan, and also a schematic plan. Right? But today I want to talk only about the bubble diagram. And maybe a bit of the conceptual plan. Right? So, for example, if you look at this slide here, the bubble diagram is at the top. Right? Because it's called a bubble diagram because we are working with bubbles. The bubbles is a kind of a symbolic representation of the spaces that you want to suggest for your garden. Right? Nothing to do with the site, but just simply about the bubbles that you want to show how one space in one bubble relates to another space. I'll show you some more better examples than this, but just to show you the differences between bubble diagram, conceptual plan, or schematic plan. And a conceptual plan is when you start putting, you interpret the bubble diagram onto the proper site. In this case, for example, in your case, is that 15 meter by 10 meter site. You start putting in the spaces, but the spaces here don't do it exactly as you did the bubble diagram, because the bubble diagram is to show the relationship between one space in that bubble with another space in the bubble. It's just a relational diagram, right? But once you've done that, then you start putting in the spaces that you have in the bubble diagram onto the side, right? So if because I can't see this very clearly. So this house here, that bubble diagram is that house there, right? And this one at the top, at the back, I think I don't know what it's written. Is it back garden or mini garden, whatever? So this is at the back. The relationship is directly related to the house. So the garden here is directly related to the house. But the shape of the circle is not the shape. It's not the same as what is drawn here in the conceptual plan, because it's a very longitudinal, or in this case, this very rectangular, right? So it's not about shape.
He's using symbols, right? The architectural symbols for the places.
Which one? The bubble or the conceptual plan?
The conceptual plan.
Yes, symbols, right?
Yeah.
But the shape is still very, very loose. But in terms of the location and relationship between the house and the mini garden, the house and the patio, for example, this is the patio here, right? So in the bubble diagram, it shows the patio is next to the house. So in the plan here, the site plan, it shows that the patio is next to the house. Here, the house is next to the mini garden. So the mini garden here is next to the house. In this case, the patio here as well. So there's another patio here. So you can see the bubble diagram is about a study of space relationship between one space and the other, right? And you interpret this relationship onto the proper site area. Even though the shape may look like this, but doesn't mean that it is the shape, the actual shape, because the shape may change later here, or it should change later here, right? So bubble diagram is about a relationship of spaces, right? And then you interpret the relationship onto the proper plan, which is called the conceptual plan. And start putting in some lines, to give that space, even though the space doesn't look like that, right? So here, all the relationship between one space and another is the same as the one here in the bubble diagram, right? So once you've done with the conceptual plan, then you start putting in the proper shape or the proper shape of the space here, right? So you see the shape of this what you call it? I can't remember what this one is. It's changed. It's all changed. Maybe certain things remain the same, but certain things has more or less the same change, right? So in other words, this is where you put more definite shape of the spaces in the garden. Understand everyone so far? So this is called a schematic plan, where the shape is more defined, it's more clearer. Here the shape is there, but it's not defined yet. It looks still very, very loose. Okay, understand everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Like in the conceptual plan, like after I think after the house, what has he made in front of the house?
But here,
Yeah, in the conceptual plan. Yes, a little further.
this one here.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
these
I
things.
can't. You got a pond there. You got a patio there, and I'm not sure what that is. Right? Right. So whatever that you have here, he would have put it here.
Yeah, and in the schematic plan, I don't see the pond. I think he removed it.
I think the blue is the pond. This one here, that's the pond.
Ah,
That's the
and
pond.
what are those small things before the pond? The red
I
ones
can't,
in
I can't read. I can't read
the
it.
schematic.
It could be footpath. It could be shrubs. I do not know.
Ah, I see, I
Can't
see.
read it. You know.
Yeah, he defined
Okay.
it in a better way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the one here in the pond, or maybe shelters in the pond itself. I do not know.
Hmm,
I just got it from for somewhere else. So it's not one of my students' work or either my work.
I see.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is what a bubble diagram should look like when you work with your site. Assuming that this is 10 by 15 meters. So you have whatever that you want to have in the site, you can do anything like. But one thing that all of you should have, what is it? In your plan?
Shelter.
Sorry?
Shelter.
Shelter, yes. Everyone should have that shelter. Either by 2 by 3 meter or 2 by 3.5, 3 by 2.5 meter. Everyone should have that. Okay, all right. So this is what a bubble diagram should look like. The bubble diagram is important because later phases of the design process, which after bubble diagram, this is what you'll be referring to when you do the schematic plan, when you do the concept plan, and also when you do the schematic plan. Because this information tells you, the bubble diagram, the spaces of the building, or in this case the landscape, lawn, garden spot, patio, their functions and their relationship between this and this. So here you can show that the patio is related to the lawn and also related to the green spot, and the lawn is related to the green spot and also to the patio, and so on. And the garden spot is related to the patio and also to the lawn area. But yeah, these are the things that you. So it's about relationship between one space and another. These are some example. This is this is an architectural bubble plan, so you can see bathroom and things, but still more or less the same concept. It's still the same concept. How the living room is related to the patio, how the living room is related to bedroom one, and so on and so on and so on. Right? This is the main entrance into the living room. So this is an architectural drawing, bubble diagram, but still a bubble diagram. Bubble diagram of relationships between spaces, relationship. These arrows show the linkage or relationship. Entrance doesn't go straight into the patio. Entrance doesn't go straight into the kitchen because there's no arrow there. But to go to the kitchen, you have to go from the entrance lobby into the living room. Then only you go to the kitchen. Right? From the entrance, you cannot go to the backyard garden. From the entrance, you need to go to the living room. Then you go to the back garden. See how the space relationship works? Right? So that's what, right. And so on and so on. Right, I'll just show you some examples very, very quickly. Some examples of that. Right? You see, they all look like bubbles, more or less. That's why it's called a bubble diagram, I think. Right? Something like this is not quite a bubble, but something similar, very squarish bubble. Right? So you have to do something like this for the coming Thursday exercise. Right? So when you have that plan, then you need to work. Then from the 2D, which is the plan, this is the 2D. Sorry. Where is that? Hang on. Where did I put that? Oh, it's not here. Where is it? Okay, never mind. So you work with 2D, which is the plan. This plan here, right? You want to transform that into a 3D, right? Which is something like that.
The schematic plan into the 3D, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, some people even at the conceptual plan, they can start doing the 3D already. Some people because they want to visualize the concept plan, the spaces between one space, and they can draw just for their own understanding of what they do. Right? They can still do that, not necessarily from the schematic, or not necessarily from the final plan, but even from the schematic, they can start also to be working with from the conceptual plan. Let's say, for example, the link. How does the space between the patio and the green area here, for example, looks like? So they can imagine. They can start doing some sketches, an imaginary sketch, so that they will know. This is what space looks like. For example, they can still do that. But some people they said no. I'll wait until I come to my schematic plan, then I'll do the sketches. But these are just rough sketches, not the final sketches. Just to help you to visualize. Okay. So don't have to be very, very proper with the sketch, but just something to give you a certain 3D interpretation of what the space looks like either in a conceptual plan or even your schematic plan. You cannot do that with bubble diagram. Bubble diagram is not spaces; they just simply relational shape diagram, right? So you can have something like that, for example. Very, very simple, quick sketches to see what the space looks like, even at the schematic stage of your work. Bubble diagram not too early. Okay, you can have something. So it doesn't have to be colored at all. It can just be simple, just line work or black and white, something like that. But this is very, very much like a final work already. But this is usually people do this after they do the final plan, not the schematic, but the final plan like this. Right, because the sketch that you see here, it looks like a very, very good line. It looks like almost like a final presentation because it looks so detailed. The lines are very, very clear, very, very good line work and things like that. Right. So normally you do this kind of work here, this kind of sketches here. Advisable to do it, at the final stage of your presentation. Once you've done the site plan, when you've drawn the site plan properly, right? But for this kind of drawing here, like here, this one here, very, very, very sketchy. You can do that. It can happen at your schematic part level of drawing. Because you want to see how this space looks like, then you can do a very, very sketchy drawing like this. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to do this, right? But for drawings like this, it will take you more than 5 minutes because it's so detailed, right? So there's a different stage of doing the sketches and the different quality at different stages of your planning. For drawing of this quality, right? Advisable, because it's going to take some time to do this. Advise to do this once you finish your your site plan, your final plan. But this kind of sketches, very very sketchy. Do it maybe at a schematic stage of your work, right? For example, this one also looks very very sketchy, but because the landscape designer wants to see what it looks like in color, so she do very very quickly, very very quick coloring here there. So this is still very very rough, but this gives him an idea what the garden looks like, even at the schematic plan stage, what the garden looks like. It's still very very sketchy, but the difference between this one here, we still at very sketchy stage, but no colors. But here still sketchy stage, but with colors, and the color still is applied very very quickly. These are markers. Just simply do that very very quickly, just to give that sense of color, right? Something like that, very very quick to do this. 5 minutes, and you get form to get to do it. But this may be not the final stage yet. You see, the lines are still very very rough, very very sketchy, right? Something like that, right? But this one is almost like a final one already. It looks proper, right? It looks almost like proper final one. This is even more. Looks like a final one, right? Okay, guys. Thank you very much. Any questions, everyone? Anyone? Any questions? So for Thursday, Shikin ni patut dia buat apa? Shikin Thursday, Shane? Agaknya.
Supposed to come back. Dr. Hana dah sampai. Okay. Dr. Hana, what are they supposed to submit this coming Thursday?
So, Dr. Hana, I've talked to them about bubble diagram. Bubble diagram. I've talked to them about concept plan, and also I've talked to them about schematic plan, also the final plan. So they know what the differences are already. So this Thursday, at what stage of the designing? We're still talking about plan. Don't think about the session element. That one will be a different lecture nanti. Maybe Madam Shikin can talk about can talk about the session and also the elevation drawing nanti later on. Mention. But for the plan, I've already done that one. So for this Thursday?
For this Thursday, I've asked Madam Ija if she can give a lecture input on design process.
Okay.
And then kita nak tengok students punya first stage lah of bubble diagram. I think to see the spaces, the proposed spaces and activities ataupun inilah more to bubble and concept lah.
Okay.
Just to see.
Right. So this is a 4-week exercise, isn't it? Is it?
Yes, 4 weeks.
So guys, so that means Shikin, maybe you can also advise me.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this Thursday we can expect the student to have 2 drawing that or 2, at least bubble and also conceptual. I think with just bubble, I think they'll be very very loose kan. They cannot. I think because students yang kalau macam you dengan I, for example, we draw bubble, we can draw the bubble straight onto the side already.
Yes.
Kan?
So probably in practice we call it some design intent images. Design intent images. Those design intent images probably you can get it from internet lah. Show the design intent images, just a few photos probably. Showing your intention.
Yeah. It could be in terms of actual site, or it could be in terms of sketches that you get from the internet. Boleh juga.
Yes. Design intent normally we pick up from the internet, definitely. Later on, when they go through the design process and they produce their own, then that will be the stage where they come up with the perspective lah.
So for this Thursday, hang on, I'll bring back that slides to you. So for this Thursday, we would like you to come up with Yeah. Okay, let me share this with you again.
Do you understand what are the design intent images, student?
Yes, teacher.
Uh-uh.
I understand.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this Thursday, because we don't have too many spaces to work with actually kan,
Yes.
so bubble diagram macam almost unnecessary kan rasanya.
Hmm.
So what you can do, you can almost do kind of a semi bubble or just go straight to conceptual plan.
Yes. But
On
within the
device.
box, right?
Within the box.
Yes, within that box.
Right. So everyone, maybe because this project is so simple, the space maybe about 3 or 4 spaces only. So don't worry about the bubble diagram.
Yes.
Right. Go straight into the conceptual plan. Understand, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
But do not worry so much about the shape first. Right. Don't be worried about the shape, for example. Right. But start doing something like this. I'll give the slides to you later on. Right. So with that 15 by 10 meter side, right? Start putting in where your shelter is going to be, and start working from that shelter where all the spaces in that garden is going to be. But I think one thing that we need to emphasize is identify where is the entrance into the garden. Anyway, it can be different for different people. Understand that it could be from the north, south, east, or west, at the corner, or wherever. Identify an entrance into the site.
Yes, Surani?
Okay. For example, if I want to make a design of the landscape surrounding my house, do I need to
No.
include house?
This is not about surrounding your house. This is just one part of your house.
It's a
Not
private
around the house.
garden. Private garden belong to you.
So I don't need to include any building in the plan.
No.
No.
Just wakaf. Just at the shelter, one shelter.
Within the garden, there should be a wakaf, right? But the garden is attached to a house, but not around the house, but one part of the house.
Oh. So in the plan, do I need to include do I need to show the house or just the
Yeah,
landscape?
you need to show at least the first, the one side of the house. For example, like here, but don't show the whole house.
Only the side.
Yeah, one side, only one side of the wall of the house that is attached to the garden.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Right?
One
Because
side,
or else the house will take half of the drawing already.
Dr. Hasanuddin just show you the example how we create, how we start doing the design from the bubble, then go to conceptual. Please don't be what we call that confused with your first assignment too. Your first assignment, we still stick to apa ni, the one that Dr. Hana showed this morning. You have one box 15 times 10 and then one wakaf and you play within that area only. This is just example.
Yeah. So one side of that 15 by 10 will be a wall of a house where there is an entrance into the garden. It can be anywhere along that box. Understand that, everyone?
Yes, Cik.
It could be at the corner of that 15 by 10. It could be in the center, not along at the center of one of the walls of 15 by 10. It could be on the north wall. It could be the south wall, east wall, whatever. But make sure you identify the entrance because the entrance should dictate how you get into the garden and what do you see first when you get into the garden from the house.
Faham tak student? Sebenarnya you kena buat yang tadi tu tau. You tengok gambar yang assignment tadi tu, you ada area 15 kali 10. So you play within that area saja. So this is just an example.
So to the
Sikit, mungkin sikit boleh draw tak sikit apa tu letak on piece of paper.
Ataupun kita slide back to apa ni assignment pagi tadi tu. No, Dr. Hana. Dr. Hana probably can show back the area. Probably they get confused.
Okay.
The plan.
Siapa raise hand tadi?
I try to draw something.
Siapa raise hand tadi? Ariana?
I did one a while just now. Can I show it? I'm not so sure about
Yes, please. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you see it?
Okay, hang on. I'll stop sharing my work. Okay.
Is that 15 times 10?
I didn't, since I didn't use a
Scale.
this the A3 paper, so I just used centimeters 15
Yes, yes,
times.
something like that.
Okay, something like
Yes,
that.
yes, something
Okay.
like. Where is your car?
Where is your
My
shelter?
Where is your shelter?
this one is the shelter.
Something
Okay.
like this. Yes,
So
student.
where
This
is
is
where is
correct.
your entrance
Yes,
into the
correct.
garden?
The entrance is right here. This one.
Okay. Right. So you can be
Okay.
anywhere along the four walls.
Yes, yes, yes. This is one of the example of how
Yeah.
you bubble up. This is
Or
the
bubble
outcome
diagram.
that we
Yeah. The
expected this
bubble,
coming to stay.
like semi-bubble conceptual, but on a proper side. The
Yes.
bubble normally you don't do that on a side. You only do
But
the conceptual plan. But here you go straight into the conceptual plan
yes.
onto the site itself. You
Uh-uh.
jump that because the
Yes.
spaces are very simple.
And
If you got
remember, you
20 or
have to
30
work
spaces,
out.
then you need to the bubble.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
remember, you have to work out within 15 times 10. And another thing is you have to use the actual scale,
Which is 1:50.
1 to 50.
Which means 50 unit is equivalent to 1 unit. That's what it
Yes.
means.
I will share in the group the video that I shared with the student last year. How do we use the scale ruler
Yeah.
after this?
Okay, so anyone who raised their hand just now, just anyone
So
else?
Ariana punya tu dikira sebagai bubble map ke? Bubble tu ke? Bubble plan.
Tak, itu konsep.
Betul. Tapi but we
Konsep.
need to do both
No, konsep saja. Bubble tak payah buat.
Saja. Okay, alright.
Tapi kalau projek tu besar, if it's a big project, you got 20 or 30 spaces, then you have to do that bubble diagram because with 20 or 30 spaces so complex, how do you want to study the relationship? Isn't it?
Okay.
Tapi 4 or 5, too simple. You can all imagine what the spaces, how the link, how the one space relate to the other. Right? Because it's very simple project, isn't it? Very simple. So the bubble diagram is not necessary. So go straight into the conceptual plan. Okay, Alif?
Okay, alright. Okay,
Alright.
alright.
Cik Din,
Yeah, Umara.
so we have to scale 15 times 10 on A3 paper.
Yeah.
Then we do in the scale, not
Yes.
all A3.
No, paper dia kan besar 15 by 10. Satu rumah besar tu. Dia pakai scale rule lah. Saya rasa kami dah kata kita ada made decision wasn't it, Chicken? It was
Yeah.
within that A3 size you fit
Yes,
the
yes.
scale of 1:50.
Oh, jadi tak kisahlah kalau contoh dalam A4 pun boleh. Yang penting masih
No.
menggunakan scale dia.
No, go
No,
straight
you
to
have to
A3.
stick to
A3.
the
Go straight to
size
A3.
of the.
Kalau you buat A4 nanti, you pakai scale lain.
Betul.
Kan?
The requirement is A3,
Nak muatkan 15 by 10 tu dalam A4 kecil kan, jadi you pakai scale lain.
Okay.
So go straight into A3 and use the scale yang ask you to do 1:50. So it should fit in that 15 by 30, 15 by 10 tu on a A3 size paper but using 150 scale. A4 it can fit in but different scale.
I think the students might be confused in terms of how to use the scale ruler.
Yalah.
So I think the first step you need to do is to actually get the scale ruler first. I think some of you still tak beli lagi scale ruler. So
Sikit
get the
ada
scale ruler.
scale ruler sikit situ.
Ada, I have.
Ni kita tunjuk dah pagi tadi.
Dah tunjuk dah.
Yes, and some of the students already buy.
Isfa dah ada.
We don't use that triangle scale ruler because that is normally student use. We normally use this kind of scale ruler. Wait, I already show to the student this morning.
Okay.
So this is the one.
Oh, bukan yang tu Oh.
Yeah. So this is easy for us to carry to the side kan, to the meeting. Something tak nampak pula. Sekejap. Something like this. Background ni agak spoil. Something like this.
Yeah,
So over here you have lots of scale. I will give you the tutorial how to use the scale. After this, I am searching
Yeah,
for
yes,
that
yes,
video.
yes. Okay, okay. So while waiting for
So this is the one.
yeah.
They have lots of scale.
Arena pakai scale berapa tu Arena? You punya drawing tu Arena? Tak ada scale.
No, I haven't used the scale yet, but
Yeah,
I will
but
do it later because I have the
Yeah,
scale
yes,
ruler.
yes.
Arena
The
pakai
system, the bubble diagram is correct lah. It's just you have to use the correct scale.
okay.
Ming Hui is raising up
Doctor?
his hand.
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor, I want to ask, in our plan, we must include the shelter, right?
Yes.
Then should we also include the house? No need, right?
Only one
No,
side.
no.
Only one side of the house. Just one wall. Just one wall of the house.
So
Okay.
so not in the site. You will not put the house in the site. Okay,
Only
so
the
the house
wall,
will
one
be
wall.
yes.
Okay. Then
So if you imagine it, the house will be outside of your garden.
Then for our further project in project 3, I think that we need to use the color marker pen. So what brand does Doctor suggest
Just
like
very
that?
thinking about this. I dah lama tak pakai, tak tahu.
Curry color. KURECOLOR. I'm going to take a look whether I have that thing over there. I don't have. We don't keep that. But never mind. Probably you can use the pencil color first.
Yeah.
Use the pencil color. Okay. And the normal pen lah. The pen we normally use this brand. Hold on, this brand. Art9.
Felt tip.
This is 0.5.
0.7, 1.0.
And 0.2. Okay. Try to get this Art9. The brand is Art9 210. Okay, we normally use this kind of pen.
Doctor, I already buy the unique brand. Is this okay?
Can you show to us the pen?
Can?
Oh, unique tu.
Unique. I'm not sure whether I use
Yang
unique.
murah sikit tu.
Yeah, this is for different line weights, right?
Yes. Yes, different. Like they have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5. We
Some
use
even
that
have
range.
0.7.
0.7. Another point.
This is unique pen.
Oh, the tips. That one can use as well. As
yeah,
long
I
as
have this one too.
that one can be used.
It's the same.
Okay.
Yes. You get
Also,
the
yes, you can do
but
that.
that one is calligraphy, right?
Yeah, calligraphy.
The tips is different. The tip is different.
So Doctor,
Yeah,
for
tell
our
me.
final work, final project 3, right? We suggested to use pencil color, right? Oh, because I afraid that if for final I buy the marker pen, right? I not that similar to use the marker pen. So I think I would like to.
But Sikin, I think for the sake of, because it's the first time they're using, I think I would advise them to use pencil color.
Yes. Pencil color will do. Pencil color will
Pencil color
do.
first, because pencil color you can easy for you to control the tone.
Yes.
But with marker, no.
Marker once you already put the marker on, it spoil everything if it is not correct.
Okay, understood.
Use
Thank you.
color.
But you know, try to buy a good quality pencil color.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
Go to a proper station.
yes, the common one is Luna lah. Luna is quite good. Luna is good.
Kalau dia beli apa yang watercolor je mahal, tak perlu lagi, belum lagi sikit.
Tak juga lah, kadang-kadang Luna juga yang best. Even we are using Luna.
Okay,
Surprisingly, using Luna. Surely. Yes. And probably Stabilo. Where?
Okay.
Something like this one can, this one. Stabilo.
Stabilo color pencils.
Stabilo color pencil. We use this one, we use Luna. We're not using extraordinary brand, no. We use Luna and this one only. Kita tak guna yang star tak guna sebab kadang-kadang dia tak mencapai. Luna juga yang terbaik daripada kecil sampai besar. This is from ni lah, from my opinion lah sebab saya memang guna Luna.
And then later on, when you have the confidence, then you can start mixing methods.
Yes, then
You have
you
watercolor with pencil, watercolor with
yes.
pen,
And then
whatever.
Luna they have two version, right? One you can mix with water. We use that version as well.
So watercolor pencil.
Yes.
Which means you can sometimes you put a little bit of color on the piece of paper that you can use. You can wet the brush and you can start applying whatever.
Yes.
Some people they mix it also. They can do that.
Yes,
Get the
yes,
texture, whatever.
right.
But that one is a bit. Don't worry about that one yet at the moment. Worry about your design. I'm not saying worry, but start working with your design.
Yes.
So any questions? Lagi?
Any question? There will be lots of questions later on.
For sure.
During
Yeah, but this is an opportunity for you to ask questions now before you start thinking about what you want to do. Don't ask me very basic questions after this WhatsApp. I don't answer basic questions. Basic questions, ask me now. Because if I want to answer direct message from everyone, I get a big headache. Too many, especially when the questions are very, very basic.
Yeah, I think I might just have questions on the scale ruler. That's all. Yeah.
Jacqueline, I have a question regarding the conceptual plan, right? We need to use color on the line.
No, just black and white first. Black and white first. Don't worry that. Okay. If you want to apply color, basically just to differentiate between what's one space and the other. That's all.
Okay.
For example, if you still want to use color, maybe where you got grass area, maybe you can use very, very quickly. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you. But don't have to draw proper tree, proper grass. No, at this very early stage. Right? If, let's say, for example, you have a pond there, then maybe you can quickly do a very quick coloring, blue with blue, whatever blue. That's all. It's not a presentation type of coloring, right? It's just a kind of a symbolic, an indication of the different spaces. If it's blue for maybe for water, green for grass, for example, maybe shrub, maybe darker green, for example, and so on and so on. Right? When you draw a tree, don't draw every single leaf. Just draw a circle enough first. Okay. What else? Anis.
Hi doctor. Okay, so right now I want to confirm that firstly we have to draw bubble in
No bubble. Straight into concept plan.
Okay, so concept plan in A3 with the scale given.
Yeah.
In that drawing, we need to put shelter and also some like plants and so on.
Whatever lah. Dalam you punya personal garden.
But doctor, I want to ask something. In the assignment, it is said that 15 meter times 10 meters, so that is our scale.
No, that is the size of your site.
Okay.
The scale is 1:50.
1:50, yeah.
Dia tak faham lagi sikit mas. Kesian lah, tak salahkan student.
I'm still searching for the video.
Anis,
when you say 1:50, wait.
You see on that scale rule that you have there is 5. That should be 1:50.
Yeah.
So 1 unit on that scale represents 1 meter.
Wait, just 1 minute. Can you see the screen?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is 1:50, right? This one.
I can't see that. The one at the top. Is that?
No, the one in the below one.
Is that 50? I can't see that. Is that what does it say? 1 is to 50, is that?
Yeah, it says 1:500
No, that's 1
scale.
is to 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 500.
1 is to 50, not 500. Do you have that in your scale? 1 is to 50?
Uh, no, I think I have different scale then.
No, you can still use 1 is to 500 juga Sikin kan?
Isfa, what do you have on the other
Yes, can.
side?
I found the video already. I'm
If you don't have 1 is to
downloading it.
500, you can convert the 500 to 50, but you must be able to differentiate. For example, I can't read your
Aku dah jumpa.
Esra, on your scale rule, do you have 1 is to 50?
No, I don't have it. I have
But you have
only.
1 is to 1. You have 1 is to 500, isn't it?
Yeah, I have that.
Right.
One
So
is to
1 unit, for
500.
example, let's say for example, one section of your scale rule in the 1 is 500 scale. Let's say that there's 1 is to 1 is to there are let's say there are 5 divisions.
Yes.
To show 10 meters, for example.
Yeah,
I don't
to
know.
show
Was
10
it?
meters.
Right. So
Yeah.
one of them could represent 50. One
Okay.
unit. Oh, difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult to explain with my limited English.
Hidden ni kan? 1050.
150. 150.
1 kepada 50.
That is betul. That one is not. But Isra doesn't have that. Isra is 1 is to 500, not 1 is to 500. 1 is to 50.
Then
Is that true, isn't it, Isra?
Yes, true.
Ruler ni
Isfa,
sampai
what about other
12.
sides? Should be ada. Isfa.
Ada sama dia tak? Ada some scale tak ada tu. Apa? Ada sama dia tak ada.
Can I show the video of previous tutorial of how to use the scale ruler?
Okay.
Okay. Share window apa? Okay. Mana? Aku letak dekat
Okay, meantime, any more questions? I'm about to leave. I just take it for 4 o'clock. Anyone?
dekat desktop.
Azhar, Zachary, Azhar has left the meeting. No, Nadira?
So far, no question.
Okay.
Okay.
Ming Hui Kok,
Yes.
any question?
I think that's all for me.
Okay, all right. Okay, whether you will try to share with.
Okay, this is a bit on tutorial on how to use a scale ruler. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the video first.
Tadi besarkan sikit.
Boleh dengar tak?
Tak apa dengar.
No
Tak apa dengar. Kejap Tak apa dengar Dr. Din?
Tak dengar langsung.
Kejap
Dengan memering je.
Or later on I will share the thing in Google Drive kot sebab dia berat sikit. We will upload in we will share link to the video, but let's take a look at we skip the video first. Okay, let's take a look at the lecture note tu kot. Okay. Okay, we skip this one. This one, the video I will share in the group using the Google Drive link. Okay, this this is how you're going to start with your design drawing lah. Okay, let's get started. Can you guys see? Boleh nampak tak?
Yes.
Okay, this is your what we call that the A3 size
Hypothetical
paper
size.
lah. This
Hypothetical
is
size.
A3 size paper. This is the actual A3 size paper. Then you have to draw 10 meter times 15 meter. Okay. So if let's say you use 1 to 50 scale, okay, this is actual A3 paper. And if let's say you get the size smaller, it's mean that you are not in the right track lah. Maksudnya tak betul. So it will be almost this size. Okay, then what you need to do is you have to draw bubble diagram of your spaces. What do you have in mind? For example,
Concept
you
plan,
like
concept plan tu, tak bubble tak ya?
yes, the concept plan. This is the bubble lah, the bubble. Where is the green area and
Yeah, but
whatsoever.
first identify where is the entrance into the garden first.
Yes, identify the gateway first. Where is the gateway? Then you start to develop the where is the green area, where you want to locate your shelter, where is the pool, the sitting area, the gossip corner, the shower.
Your footpath, whatever, your
footpath,
trees, your
whatsoever.
shrubs.
So this is how we start lah. This is what we call a so-called bubble diagram. Okay. Then after that, okay, this is the bubble diagram example. Nampak tak? Okay, it doesn't have to be very neat and clean lah. It will be very bubbling.
Teacher, I think the slides are not moving.
Slide is not moving?
Yeah.
Slide is not moving. Okay. Can you see the next slide? Nampak tak?
No.
No.
Tak nampak. Sekejap. Okay.
Okay, yes.
If I show this one, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, probably just now I did show in slide, tak nampak. So kita tengok yang ni lah Alright, so next what you need to do is draw the bubble diagram. Jadi this one dah nampak tadi? Tak nampak?
Nampak.
Okay, then this is the example of how your bubble diagram look like. Okay, so it'll be very sketchy, hand sketch. Okay, so you have to put where are those macam the shelter, where you want to put the bench, the gossip corner and whatsoever. So you put here and then you can use your handwriting and show you where are the areas. The connection between those spaces. So you put it in some sort like arrow concept lah, something like that. Okay, then the third thing you start to draw from this bubble diagram, then you start transfer it into the design. Okay, so just now we put it in the bubbles, and now after that you start draw the design itself lah. Okay, dekat mana, where is the shower, the gossip corner, the lobby, the green area, the sitting area and whatsoever. Okay. And after that, you start to refine. This is very, so what you can see here is a very rough sketch. Okay, and after that, next what you need to do is, when you are confident enough with your design, then you detail up the area. Okay, you start taking the pen, the 0.5 pen and 0.4 pen, and you start to overlap the lines with the thicker pen, macam tu. Okay. And after that, you start to do the colouring. Macam ni. So after you are confident enough, then you start to do the colouring. So you colour lah all the areas. Finish up with colours. And these are our expectation lah. This one, last year I prepared a very rough sketch, about 10 minutes only. Okay, this is what I get lah. Yeah. Okay, but our expectation is more than that lah. Probably cantik macam ni. And probably this is our expectation result. I mean the colouring and the line thickness. Okay, not the design. Okay. This is our expectation result. So these are the process that we want you to do lah. Okay, so I repeat again. Firstly, you get the paper, the A3 paper, and draw this area. Okay, 10 meter times 15 meter. So this is the actual paper. Okay, 10 times 15 meter, you will get something like this. Okay, and you put the scale over here lah, scale down here, A3 paper size. And after that, you draw the bubble diagram. Okay, putting all your elements in the bubble format. And after that, you start to draw the sketchy lines of your design. Okay, and after you are confident enough, you start to thicken the line, okay, and put some shadows, this and that, of your areas. And when you are confident with your design in black and white, we start putting the colors. But of course, we did mention just now, we just need you to do it in color pencil. Okay, this one I put it in what we call that computer graphic. Okay, for the sketch, for the fast sketch one. Okay, so our expectation is something like this. So that is what you need to do. Okay, later on, I think Madam Ija already shared the link of how to use the scale ruler. Okay, and then I will share this slide for your reference. Okay, this is not a good design because I just did it a very sketch one, but this is our expectation lah. Okay, so I think that's all. Do you have any question?
Ana, nanti cuba dapatkan get a link to the Miro from last year dah.
Dah. Saya dah tunjuk pagi
Yeah.
tadi dah. Nanti saya send. Pagi tadi saya dah tunjuk dah.
This is a very basic one, but you need to refer to the Miro of our expectation. This is a basic for your understanding.
But we can't access.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at this, this is just now is a conceptual design, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
concept.
Okay, so I saw that the trees, the shrubs, it goes beyond the size. So is it okay?
Goes beyond the
What the
size.
trees?
I mean the lines, yeah.
No, so, of course, it should go beyond the walls because it's a tree.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You can't control that.
That is the tree canopy.
That's a tree. You can go under the tree. You can still go
Oh,
under the tree. It's over the
Okay.
wall.
As long as the cross in the middle, that one is inside the side.
Don't have the shelter across the border
Yes, yes.
or the pond.
Oh, okay, understood.
And the size, talking about the trees, you have to be very careful when you do the round shape of the crown diameter of the tree. Okay, this is actually the actual tree trunk diameter. Tree trunk diameter and also the tree, what we call that, round shape lah, the overall diameter of the tree.
Don't worry. I think once you start working on it,
Yes, we have lots of questions.
You learn very, very fast. Don't worry.
And please take a look at the Miro, the previous student example. Then you will get an ideas of what we are talking about. The slide that I showed to you is a very basic one for your understanding only. What is the what we call that, the sequence and our expectation of the outcome. Okay.
Madam, the file Madam share just now cannot open.
The file cannot open.
Miro, is it Miro?
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
too big. No, the slide.
Oh.
The slide.
Slide.
And also the Miro still cannot accept.
Yeah,
Yes,
the old students.
I will approve. I will approve the Miro.
All right.
We will send again in a smaller version. Okay. We will try to reduce the size.
Alright. Thank you, madam. Thank you, tutor.
Any other questions? No?
No.
No, that.
Okay, so like we mentioned before, on Thursday you are expected to put up your conceptual plan in the Miro, the new Miro board that I have created and I've sent to you this afternoon, earlier today. Okay, and then on Thursday morning, Madam Ijah will be giving a lecture on design process, and then you will continue on with the create session.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. Okay, Cik Din, anything to add?
Rawan ada tak Rawan? Is she with?
No.
Okay, tak apa. Okay, all of you leave. Let me and Dr. Hana and also Madam Shikin just online. All of you can leave now. Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dada.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cik Din. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
File tu kalau salah dalam Telegram. Jangan saya download.
Ni apa ni si Rawan ni grup siapa ah? Grup mana? Saya ke?
Yes, your group.
Sekejap Cik Din.
Isfa, can you leave us? Isfa?
Yes, teacher, I made you the co-host, okay? I'm leaving.
Isfa, you can just leave the Google Meet. You don't have to end the Google Meet.